Sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, M.D., Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, M.D.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AIM Impact on Your Health. AIM Impact on Your Health, where every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. AIM Impact on Your Health, heard each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. AIM Impact on Your Health, for each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, fascinating health topics, and of course, where we do encourage you to call in to join in. Today, I'm really looking forward to a discussion today with a gentleman with his bio is multiple paragraphs long, fills an entire page, and every single portion of his bio is intriguing to me. He is also going to be intriguing to you, I hope intriguing enough that we entice you to go on up and see him. He's inbound to Pittsburgh. He's going to be the guest of the featured speaker at the Freedom of Choice and Cancer Therapy Group that does meet tomorrow night at the Days Inn just south of Butler there on the right-hand side at 7 p.m. It is not the third Thursday this month. It's tomorrow, and the guest, Dr. Emil Schandl. He's going to be our guest today. Cancer is going to be the discussion. There's a history, a personal history involved with it. I'll delve into that. From his scientific edge, however, some really interesting inventions and procedures that he developed will be what we're discussing today. Something centered around what he has dubbed the cancer profile. He claims identifies the existence of cancer before any other thing can do it. We're going to get into that today, right after our first break, and I'm going to take it fast because I don't want to miss the opportunity to speak to Dr. Schandl and lose any time today. So we're going to be making that transition to bring him aboard really soon. Dr. Emil Schandl, the featured speaker tomorrow night at the Freedom of Cancer Therapy Group up in Butler. Now, as the rest of the month, and by the way, we have turned the page, have we not? Today is the 2nd of March. We're in the new month, and it is a packed schedule for you this month. It's going to go something like this. On Friday, we're going to bring Jerry Singleton back, talking about MCG testing. We'll share with you some of the things that we're learning. Now, I'm consulting with the bulk of these patients who did take this test. I'm seeing the scores in some cases match up, in some cases not. What would it mean? How does that score actually detect your coronary artery disease status? We'll get into that with Jerry talking about this amazing new technological advancement called MCG, stands for multifunctional cardiogram, which we now do here in the office. And up and coming in this month, 17th of March is the date. If you're out there and you want to take me up on my offer to come on in and get the MCG testing, it's a 7-minute test. You're fully clothed except for your shoes, socks, and wrists. We just need to get a approach at either of those 4 appendages. 7 minutes later, the test is over. But the test is as informative as a full-blown cardiac catheterization would be without having the cardiac catheterization. That is just simply amazing. Okay, so Jerry's on Friday. As we get to next week, right now, Monday and Wednesday, we're set to finally open up to you. It's been a while. We've had a number of guests. I always like for there to be at least a cool-down period to let you get a little bit of off your chest, and we'll have some opportunity to do that at the beginning of next week. By the time Friday rolls around next week, however, a very good personal friend of mine and a very accomplished physician, you know him. He's been to Pittsburgh when I had my conferences down at the Sheraton at the Station Square. David Brownseed was one of the first people I contacted. At the time, he was really hot because he was just publishing and had available his new book on iodine. Now I understand there are many new additions to it. He said, I got to send you the new stuff because it's completely different. So much more information's included. We're going to find out what the new stuff about iodine is from the man who ought to know, Dr. David Brownstein, our featured guest on the 11th of the month, which will be next Friday. Then as we move into the third week, one that we just inked the other day. Now, I have been a big proponent of. You can tell by the number of the shows I've done on this product called, BAC, which is an acronym for Bioengineered Algae Concentrates. The story of Dr. Michael Kiriak has been intriguing to me, and it's turning out, and I'm taking these supplements myself, this bioengineered algae, I think, may be something that you all need to consider with respect to how to clean up your supplementation. I'm really trying to make a pitch to what I have dubbed the bushel basket brigade. Now, these are the folks, and I love them dearly. They come into my office, and, nobody has ever brought a bushel basket. But I think maybe that's unfair, but they're certainly bringing shopping bags. Shopping bags full of supplements, and they maybe are taking 30 or 40 or 50, and I'm not kidding you. And they're asking me, hey, do you have another one do you think I should be taking? I go crazy when I see that. And I'm always trying to find out how it is that I could recommend the best multiple approach all wrapped into one. I think we're zeroing in on it, and we got Roland Thomas coming back. We're going to be talking about, this time, all the ingredients. I think it's mind-boggling when you finally read what's in this stuff. On the 14th, Roland will be back. And by the way, by the time that date rolls around, we'll actually have a full supply in the office if you want to pick it up. It is very difficult to find. Then on the 16th, we're going to have Susan Smith-Jones come back with us talking about weight loss tips, 10 of them, she says, and she usually keeps to her number. And then that famous 17th of the month, give us a call here at the office if you would like to take the MCG testing. It is insurance covered. Most all the insurers do cover it, and not just once either, based on the scoring. And there is a raw score given between 0 and 20. Based on that scoring, you may be a person that needs to get that test 4 times a year. And at a minimum, you can certainly take the test every year based on where the scoring comes, what it reveals, and then you'll want to be able to check your progress as you put in play a plan to make those corrections. All right, that's how the month of March is shaping up. That's the final word on it, and I'm sticking to it. Let's do this. Without wasting any more time, I am just anxious as all get out to get a hold of our featured guest today. He is the featured speaker at the Freedom of Choice in Cancer Therapy Group tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. His name, Dr. I think it should be pronounced Emil. I'm going to ask him. Dr. Emil Schandl, Ph.D., going to be our guest. Be back in a moment with Dr. Schandl. You don't want to miss this.
MD. You become confused about how best to manage your health. It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, M.D. is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Have you been to the doctor lately? Was fatigue top of your complaint list? Even if your doctor asks you what you eat, the recommended 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day is a dream in your busy schedule. What if you learned of a product 5 years in the formulation that delivers 5 servings of fruits and minerals in just 1 ounce? That's right, it's Fruit the Spirit. The blessings of Fruit the Spirit are now formulated into a delicious whole fruit puree product rich in antioxidants and minerals. Your health is more than just a test result. It's a balance of physical, spiritual, and emotional factors. You work regularly to strengthen your faith, let Fruit the Spirit help cover your nutritional needs in a convenient and cost-effective ounce a day. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Fruit the Spirit, 5 servings of fruits and minerals with no added sugar. That's 1-800-442-3793 for your good health. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AIM Impact on Your Health. Heard here on KHB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you today on this Wednesday version of the show, and it's a interesting day today. We always try to leave some time open for our good friends up there in Butler at the Freedom of Choice and Cancer Therapy Group, because each and every month, except for the summers, they always have a featured speaker per month. And as much as we try to, and just about almost 100% of the time, we bring their speaker on board on our show to give you a little bit of flavor, give you a little bit of enticement and inducement to go on up and see that speaker. This month, it's a little out of character. Instead of the third Thursday of the month, it's the first Thursday of the month. In fact, it's tomorrow night. And that featured speaker is a gentleman with more accolades. I've read a lot of bios in my time, and I really got to tell you, I haven't read one as interesting in this. The gentleman is a licensed clinical laboratory director in the areas of clinical chemistry, hematology, diagnostic immunology, serology, immunohematology. You got a lot of ologies here that we don't even get to get into the rest of them. He's in multiple states, Florida, New York, California, and others. Founder and director of the American Metabolic Testing Laboratories and Metabolic Research. The list goes on and on. Personally, the guy's a 4th degree black belt. He is a more than a casual competitive swimmer, and he's developed a flair and an interest in the area of cancer. We're going to talk about those areas of interest with our featured guest today, the featured speaker tomorrow night, Dr. Emil Schandl, who's with us right now. Let's say good morning to him. Good morning, Dr. Schandl. Do me a favor, Dr. Schandl. It's probably the telephone connection's fine. I really just need you to speak into that receiver closely and to do it loudly. I'm loud. Try to get up to my volume level. Can you try that, Doctor? Doctor?
Okay, yes, I hear you.
There you go. Okay, now you're coming through loud and clear.
Very good.
All right, you're coming to Pittsburgh tomorrow. By the way, where do we bother you today? Where are you hailing from? Where is it that this area code?
We are starting in Daniel, Florida, and my office is in Hollywood, Florida.
Okay, familiar with the area for sure. You have such an interesting history. I don't think I would ever do it justice to try to encapsulate it. So would you do all of us a favor and tell us a bit about you, your background, your history, how it is that you got into the endeavors that you have, and bring us right to the present date as to what you're doing nowadays.
Okay, that's sort of a couple volumes.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, I came to the United States in 1956 after our battle with the Soviet Union in Budapest, Hungary. I initially ended up in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, which is somewhere near you there.
No, you're a local guy, or you were a local guy.
Okay. And while I did my rounds, I went then to Cleveland, Ohio, from there to Connecticut, Bridgeport, Connecticut. From there, I received a scholarship, and I traveled to California, Santa Maria, California, where I started my studies. Budapest, I just finished high school. I was studying and working for more than 5 years to get my art degree. In the meantime, I learned that my mother developed leukemia. Prior to that, I was majoring in aeronautical engineering. I was a flight test engineer, but because of bad news, I changed my major to pre-med. I started to study biology, biochemistry, geology, all those. Along with that, after graduation at Allen Hancock College in Santa Maria, California, I transferred to Berkeley, University of California. The genetics department was too large for me, Berkeley, and the classes of several hundred, so I transferred to Santa Barbara, where I earned a Bachelor of Arts degree, analytical biology. Thought I was now finished and accomplished until and when the Department of Employment qualified me as elemental farm labor. I really didn't like that very much. All my friends encouraged me to go on for more studies and degrees, so I was accepted to Cal State University in San Diego. I earned a Master of Science degree in biochemistry and enzymology. Eventually, I was advised by a world-renowned geneticist by the name of David Burt Taylor at some molecular biophysics at Florida State. I traveled cross-country, and I did my research work, and I published a number of papers, DNA replication. I earned my degree in the field of molecular genetics. In the meantime, my mother passed away. I was overwhelmed by all the therapeutic agents that I was receiving, and succumbed to all that. I did postdoctoral work at University of Laval, Quebec City. I spent a year and a half there. I published some papers from there as well. I became a fellow of National Academy of Clinical Biochemistry, certified as a specialist in clinical chemistry by American Society of Pathology. I registered by National Institute in Clinical Chemistry as a clinical chemist. I'm a licensed consultant in the state of Florida. Mentioned I'm a clinical laboratory director in the various states, Florida, California, New York, I believe, and a number of others. And yes, I do practice Pilates, and I also study. The interesting thing is how I actually came to developing the cancer profile, which can not only foretell the development of cancer, or a tumor may show by any visualization methods, but also excellent for following cancer by this blood test. I took a position at a local hospital, and I was there studying and practicing nuclear medicine with all kinds of things that in nuclear medicine. I learned exact things, and also causing things by various other procedures. There I came to the thought that was some non-invasive way of detecting cancer, and also following an individual without all the radiation that is, say, like the scan and the nuclear medicine and just in X-rays. So that's where I started in this hospital. There was a Humana hospital. I started to develop a cancer profile. I was working with the theory of so-called trophoblast nature of cancer, which some people call the Unitarian theory of cancer. It was originally developed by Dr. John Baird, published a paper in 1902 in Lancet journal. According to him, all cancers are embryonic or by trophoblast. Trophoblast cells are embryonic cells. These are the first product of fertilization. These cells get implanted inside so that the fetus can develop. trophoblasts are producing a hormone called H-chorionic gonadal hormone. Interest, just more than 80% of cancer patients will have hormones, HCG hormone, the pregnancy hormone, men, women, children, anyone, just about any kind of cancer. So I was working with this idea. I actually developed an anti-AIDS antibody years ago. Further down the road, Dr. Navarro has also accepted the idea of the tropoblast theory of cancer and developed and utilized a test measuring HCG activity. And this was back in 1959. Fortunately and unfortunately, this test is still around because Dr. Navarro was a pioneer in such endeavor to try to find a way to detect cancer early and by non-invasive methods. Unfortunately, because that test is technology that's some years old and some ramping of modernization, not really very accurate, but definitely not sensitive enough and not specific for age. Later on in the history of development of this test and in my understanding of its goodness came from an article that was published in the Journal of National Cancer in 1977, and with that Dr. Williams showed that, from the Birmingham study, that they found HCG hormone years before individuals are diagnosed and very much encouraged. From with my work, eventually I published a paper. It's actually an abstract in the Clinical Chemistry Journal. That was in 1980. This journal I'm discussing the presence of it, also the success rate of sex cancer, which either already established or those not essentially have or may have developed cancer. There's a lot of literature available in the biomedical field on HCG as a tumor marker, yet there is quite a bit of reluctance establishment to use that as such. Well, at American Metabolic Laboratories are the determination on both. One will be by radiomagnetic test, the other one will be luminescent assay on blood, the third one will be urine. We are in this report the value we are very accurate, proper. Two, if you find two out of the test positive, then you can really declare that there may be developed or cancer that could be taken care of, especially if there are no signs, symptoms whatsoever that you find so often in individuals.
All right, let's do this. I got a feeling that a lot of my listeners are probably confused. I'm following you, but I just want to stop for a moment. I want to back up. In fact, I want to take you back quite a bit of time. It appears that you were going down a certain pathway of becoming an aeronautical engineer, or you at least were destined to become something in aviation. But as is often the case, a personal tragedy comes up, and it completely upsets your world so much that you changed. I mean, you completely flipped and went off in a different direction. It became a medical direction. This, of course, is what I'm talking about with respect to your mother's leukemia. I find this to be a common link with many doctors that I know, an epiphany, if you would. Talk about that break, that complete, not little break, a major break in how you wanted to pursue your life with respect to your mom's leukemia, if you would, just for a moment.
Well, of course, I had an illness at
Talking, you're going to speak into the phone, Doc. We're getting you muffled. You're going to have to talk louder.
My mother's illness had a tremendous spiritual and emotional impact upon me. As you mentioned, that really changed my entire outlook on life. And that was the initial, and even today, so many years later, the motivating force that I'm pursuing this line of research and activities. I don't know, but what else I can say about that? I know and I see from everyday practice in the clinical laboratory and teaching with and advising patients that what I'm doing is really very good, and I don't see anything which would come near so many respects. Even often we do test individuals who have no, but we have somebody in the family that was diagnosed. We want to know whether they are susceptible or not, and we find results which are incredible that the person can actually work on to remove the markers. It's like if you know that you have some elevated markers, you don't have a symptom, then main goal is change lifestyle, because that's all what you can do, and that's plenty, so that an individual will not break down with that it's, of course, my mother's memory is in my mind, it's my heart.
Absolutely. Now, there's another thing that that comes to the forefront, and I gotta ask you about this because you mentioned on the air already, and I read it in your bio, where you began to you did a stint in nuclear medicine, and it was a very large impression that it placed on you with respect to the role that exposure to nuclear and radioactive isotopes have in developing cancers. So much so, you've sort of triggered my interest because I've long been one who has mentioned the relationship between exposure to medical x-rays, medical radiation in the development of cancer. What interesting comments could you make about that? Because I really feel, and I'm sure you know Dr. John Goffman's work, he felt that more than 50% of all cancers were due to medical x-rays.
That is very true. My initial reason for leaving nuclear medicine was that all day long we were working with, and I was working with, and injecting people with radioisotopes, radioactive material. And oftentimes I measured radiation in that segment of the hospital, and the Geiger counter just went off of its scale. Radiation there.
Absolutely, sure.
And you know, people are walking in a hallway, and the patients sitting in a hallway with already injected radiation, radiating the entire world around them. I was extremely uncomfortable about it because I had enough background radiation biology. I didn't want to expose. And of course, I could not stop the wheel turning that I couldn't change the hospital's mind not to do that. And today we know, and we found out that whole body scan, this virtual colonoscopy and other things by the CT, by CAT scan, apparently and obviously and proven in a proven way is causing cancer. So I think those procedures have been cut back, but I'm amazed at still how many individuals are exposed necessarily or unnecessarily, for instance, for PET scan or a CT or CAT scan. So I was always wondering what kind of and what tremendous insanity this is, that we are diagnosing people with a substance that is actually can and may have caused their disease in the first place.
Well, I tell you, as a medical doctor, I wouldn't be one that would be so casual about this to say, well, nobody should ever have a CAT scan. We absolutely require, I would say, the need, especially our surgeons require the need to see anatomical detail in such expressive ways that that we probably always have to have technology have its proper role. I always get an amazement on where I see my profession go awry is the frequency. I can tell you that in my own personal case, you can get a CAT scan ordered, one CAT scan a week for 10, 15, 20 weeks. They don't bat an eyelash. They just keep going back and get another CAT scan, and you'll end up glowing in the dark by the time your hospital stay is over with. Wouldn't you say?
I totally agree with you. I have nothing really against diagnostic necessary, judiciously performed, ordered and performed CAT scans, radiation exposure. Indeed, this is an excellent, very fine way of isolating tumors and also to work with them. But like you said, so often, let's do another CAT scan to see how the chemo is working. And so the frequency of it, once diagnosis already made, I think this is where the cancer profile comes in play, that very much can tell whether a method of treatment, whether it's traditional or metabolic, as we call it, or non-traditional non-tox, working or not. That was one of the ideas by which I went establishing cancer profile.
All right, now back to this profile. I think I've heard of this profile. I've heard of a Dr. Navarro. Did he end up having to take his practice or his lab to the Philippines? Do I got the right guy in mind?
Well, Dr. Navarro was of the Philippines.
Okay.
Since he ever visited the United States or not, he published a paper back in 1959 on the 72nd Scientific Meeting of the Caveat Medical Society in the Philippines. And I don't know how other way he got common knowledge and publication, and then there were a number of pioneering people who picked up the idea of cancer, quote-unquote, diagnosis without other methods, basic methods like biopsy, radiation, and all that.
Sure.
The problem is that they in the Philippines have not kept up with time. The methods that we are using are several hundreds, not thousands times more sensitive than what they are using. And the test is not specific. The Navarro test is a urine test, which would be fine in a way. As you may or may not know, the person is collecting some urine and then will pose it acetone and will filter through the precipitate in a coffee filter and send it to the Philippines, and then they get the result back. Normal are somewhere on 50 or something like that, or less than 52. This test does not take consideration that the HCG hormone that they're pretending to test for is extremely similar to TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, LH, luteinizing hormone, FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, and these all will be in that precipitate. So when you get the result, it's going to be the conglomeration of all these things. And the person, like menopausal, perimenopausal, postmenopausal women, older men, will have a lot of FSH, LH in their blood, and what they are reporting may not be at all HCG.
All right, let's take I can understand why there could be some refinements. I think it's fair to say that if Navarro had the first conceptualization about the HCG, you have been able to make the refinements to make this a much more accurate and revealing test, whereas maybe the Navarro test using urine alone, and what you just mentioned, there's such confusion between HCG and TSH and FSH and all these other pituitary components that it could cloud the picture. But I want to take you back to probably the more important concept, and it is the concept by which this is all based. You say that, and I'm asking you now, I think I've heard you mention in our discussion that all cancers, I'll use the word all cancers which have trophoblastic origin, all cancers produce amounts of HCG. Is that phrase a correct phrase?
Okay. Now, partially yes, partially not.
All right, tell me what's partially yes and what's partially no.
Partially yes, because at least 80% of all cancers will have will produce a detectable amount. I think that where we don't detect HCC in a cancer patient, it happens a relatively low percentage of time. Those tumors probably producing technical thing, the alpha subunit of the HCC, composed alpha and beta, which don't detect. So, and what is not true is that it's not, there are in the biomedical literature we're talking about trophoblastic tumors, like poliocarcinoma, terminal.
Yes, now those are well known to be associated with HCG production because they are trophoblastic in origin, whereas I think the larger generalization that you made is that all tumor activity has trophoblastic origination. And am I hearing that part of this right? All tumors? Doc? Oh, we may have lost him. Are you there? Well, let's just do this. Let's take a short break. I'm going to reestablish my contact with the doctor. We're going to get to the bottom of this thing about can HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin, be the marker that would allow us to detect our cancers very, very early. So we're going to take a quick break. I'll go find the doctor again. I'll be right back with you.
Want to help your family eat healthier? Instead of learning to disguise tofu in wondrous ways, how about some real nutritional power? If your family has the typical American palate for fries, pizza, and burgers, giving your family the blessing of good nutrition is a struggle. Fruit of the Spirit is the answer for your family's nutritional needs. Fruit of the Spirit is an all-natural, whole fruit puree made from fresh fruits native to the Holy Land with alkalizing minerals. Fruit of the Spirit was 5 years in the formulation, the work of a team of top nutritional experts with independent science to confirm its antioxidant power. 1 ounce a day provides the equivalent of 5 servings of fruits and minerals. Fruit of the Spirit is convenient, affordable, and delicious. Even your picky family will sing the praises of Fruit of the Spirit. Give your loved ones the blessing of good nutrition. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. That's 1-800-442-3793. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, M.D. Have you become confused about how best to manage your health? It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, M.D. is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back once again. Yes, we have reestablished our connection with the good doctor, and I don't know what switch got pushed and which button got pushed. Nonetheless, we're back. Doctor, you with us right now? Okay, Doc, to pick up where we left off, because I really think it's the key point, and I don't want to get too confusing to our listeners. I think that you'll have a lot of time tomorrow night to expand to the level that you'd like to expand when the audience is with you up there at Butler. But to say on the phone, I think really what needs to be clear is to zero in on the big message here, which is 80, well, am I hearing you right? Cancers, all cancers have trophoblastic activity, and therefore they have the potential to produce HCG, which is human chorionic gonadotropin. This is a naturally occurring hormone, by the way, during pregnancy found in women, but all tumor activity has the potential to produce it, and it is detectable in about 80% of tumors and malignancies. Am I got that right now?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Now, if that is correct, and that Dr. Navarro, who you had mentioned, and I had heard about him, who did originate from the Philippines, was doing his testing over there. You literally could get a urine kit, do some things, and send it over to the Philippines. The step that you've taken is you've gotten much more sophisticated in your detection, and you use 3 different assays to determine the presence or absence of HCG. Elaborate on your 3 different ways that you assess. Do you do all 3 and then check off if you hit all 3 of them? You go, hey, that's for sure a cancer. If you get 2 out of 3, maybe not. 1 out of 3, probably not. How do you use your 3 assessments?
According to the United States Commission, which is at the University of New Mexico, because of false positive.
Speak up into the phone, doctor. You're getting a little further away. Speak into the phone.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so the United States Safety Commission in New Mexico warned and instructed hospitals when they try to decide or diagnose a possible tubal pregnancy or hydrocephalus mole or any of the germinal tumors to perform at least 2 tests per day to ascertain that there is actually real AIDS circulating in the blood. There was some unnecessary surgery performed because there was some HCG elevation, all kinds of methods on the test prior with, and there was no tumor, everything was fine. So we like to have, and according to their instructions, have 2 positives. And so have 2 positives, like 1 serum and 1 urine, and we are very certain that the H14, which is at very low levels, just there.
So that would be a positive. But you mentioned that the HCG Commission, I didn't even know there was such a thing, and trying to establish a diagnosis of either hydatiform mole and choriocarcinoma. These are well-known malignancies that have, well, hydatiform mole really isn't, but nonetheless, a meteoric rise, and I mean huge levels of HCG are found in both of those. And so I'm asking about the minuteness that might be found in other cancers other than those germinal cancers that are so well associated with HCG. It's no surprise. I think what is surprising to me is that all cancers have a trophoblastic contribution. All cancers have HCG production, and you can detect them in 80% of those cancers, even if the level is extremely minute. Is that the point that you're trying to make, doctor?
Yes, that's correct.
And
the situation says that H hormone has the propensity to de novo and do DNA, RNA protein synthesis. And also, more current literature is now finally related as being one of the causes of embryology is trophoblast theory, and according to Dr. Spears, trophoblast, quote unquote, invade developing embryos from fertilization methods from the cells. Trophoblast are formed cancers inside. About 80% of these will migrate to the gonads. The rest of them, many trophoblast cells will migrate to various organs. And trophoblast cells are totipotent cells. They can become anything, any kind of somatic bodily function forming cells there are.
they're what they call pluripotential, correct?
They are totipotent. Pluripotential will be the stem cells. Stem cells are pluripotent, they can become so many things, different stem cells, but trophoblast can become anything and everything. In other words, trophoblast DNA unmasked almost totally can go any way. But the fact is that after and when this migration of trophoblast occurred into the embryonic individual, it will assume shape, form, and activity of somatic cell environment. I act as a muscle cell, as a heart cell, a lung cell, a brain cell, whatever. And so that's my theory of an environmental stimulation, for instance, lack of oxygen, hypoxia on a tissue level. The trophoblast will turn on, start to give us little signals. I'm coming alive, and start to make a hormone.
Start to make the HCG hormone. Okay, let's do this. So as to not get too far into the scientific aspect, which I would just love to spend hours with you, Doctor, I want to just take and take what I believe to be the next logical question, which is, you have a lab in Florida that does these assessments, correct? Okay, and is it possible for a layperson, do you require that a patient submit to this testing based on a doctor's prescription, or can just any one of our listeners call up and get a kit and submit this? Is it for everyone, or is it only with medical direction involved?
The law requires medical prescription. Our staff physician is a board-certified pathologist ordering the test, or the like, in the medical university of South Carolina. And so we send out the prescription with her permission, send out the kit. We're actually receiving specimens from all around the world.
So I think what I just heard you say was, you have a physician, a pathologist, that works in league with your company, that if someone services and has an interest in getting this testing, the doctor that you're associated with will write that prescription to allow the testing to go forth. It won't require a patient to go find a doctor to write that prescription. You already have a doctor that works within the company that will do that. Did I hear that right?
Yes, that is correct. However, we like to encourage individuals to have their doctor where they are and whom they are seeing regularly or otherwise, so we can establish a working relationship, and the doctor really should not be excluded, because the attendance to, like, elevated markers definitely will require an enlightened physician who can monitor medical conditions other than, possibility of cancer.
Okay, here's my next question. With respect to the cost of this testing, and I'm guessing that when, for instance, if I wrote the prescription or this other doctor wrote the prescription, you then send a kit so that you can obtain specimens, urine, blood, anything else?
You need urine and blood serum.
Urine and blood serum. Okay. So then you get this stuff sent. What is the overall fee? This is very costly. Is this within the realm of financial doability to patients, or is this exorbitant cost? Give us an idea.
We are offering 8 tests in the cancer so far. It will be the CH. There is an enzyme called CHI, which is tested about that time or tomorrow. And we do also the carcinogenic antigen, which is broad spectrum tumor marker.
That's another tumor marker, CEA. Yes, I'm familiar with it.
And we also do peripherally related tests like TSH, thyroid hormone, hemagglutinin test, that's an enzyme most expensive, and also a hormone, GH2, sulfate production, sulfate. These entities are closely related to development of cancer.
And so you do 8 different markers. HCG is only one of them, and that's the entire package. Give me an idea what that costs, Doc.
The entire profile is somewhere, I don't know the exact figure, I'm not the
Sure, okay, just give me a ballpark.
Somewhere around $380.
Did you say $280?
So $300.
$380. I think that's a very reasonable price to make a detection in areas where even a minute tumor start. You're so sophisticated. I'm guessing that with your assay techniques, your ability to make these detections and confirmations that there is cancer present is at a level where no other radiological or other medical intervention is able to detect anything at that point. The tumor could be so small that they're never going to get picked up until they're much larger. But with your assay techniques, as sophisticated as they must be right now, you're able to make those detections. Am I correct in my assumption?
Yes, you are correct, but I may want to add that the laboratory is offering a special price. I don't know why it is, quite a bit reduced price for the attendees of my lecture that I'll be giving tomorrow.
Well, here's a question, and I think it's just crawling up my spine. So let's hypothetically say someone who's listening to us today and may even not even have a clue, be feeling wonderful, but says, you know what, for $380 or with your specialist this month, I'm going to go get this tested. Now they come back and you actually, through your assay, your 8 different components, you not only, you say absolutely there's tumor marker here. This patient I think what I have to say is when your test comes back positive, this isn't a test that determines predilection to develop cancer or predisposing factors to develop cancer. This thing detects the presence of a cancer. Am I right about that?
If there are no signs, symptoms, and this individual you described as living a happy life, no complaints, there is a tumor marker elevation, that means that this individual may well be in the process of developing.
Wait a minute. For you to develop the marker, for you to have HCG, you already have to have the tumor activity in play, don't you? It's not like it might develop. It is developed.
Not developed. Maybe on its way. There is the so-called immune surveillance, as you well know, in our system, and the immune system may overcome this and defeat it, knowing that this is happening. The individual will avoid.
But even if that happens, and so let's just take that for a moment. Let's say the immune system, which is a miraculous system, and when it's working just right, its job is to detect these tumor developments literally every day, by the way. You and I both know your immune system, our immune systems are doing it. But in order for the immune system to spring into action, they actually have to be detecting the tumor activity, the abnormality itself, not the predilection. See, I'm like trying to maybe parse hairs with you, parse words, but I see this as being able to find detected cancers that are already present, not any predisposing issue. You get a marker that's elevated, you got tumor activity. Whether your immune system is strong enough to combat at that level or not, that's neither here nor there. But I'm going to say it, to me, appears as though there is a tumor in play right now. Am I wrong or right? Once again, I'm nailing this one down.
Well, there may be a micro tumor happening.
That's right.
The test can, by calculations, detect as few as a couple of dozen, the activity of a couple of dozen cells. So the immune system is most likely already recognizing that even though number of cells, cancer cells, are very, very low, this is the time when the individual, by avoiding harmful substances, things, air, thoughts, all things, and giving the person proper nutrients, enhance the immune system.
There you go. Okay. Now look, I don't want us to get interrupted. We're coming right up to the end of the show. This is fascinating work, Doctor. You are to be commended for your contribution in an area where You and I both have to admit our professions not doing too good of a job here with this cancer stuff, and this is an unbelievable contribution with respect to the potential accuracy here. I hope that everybody that is listening to our show today can come up and see you tomorrow where you have the opportunity to elaborate more on this. I'd like to spend some time with you off air. Don't hang up whenever I say goodbye to the rest of the folks. I want to get some more information about your company. I think it's testing. I do a lot of cancer evaluations here in my office, and the fact that I might want to use your assessments is something I want to talk to you about off air. But thank you so much for allowing us to, invade your morning. I hope you have a safe trip when coming to Pittsburgh today, tomorrow, whatever. But nonetheless, we'll be waiting for you, and hopefully you have an enjoyable time while you're here. All right, Doc?
Thank you very much. I look forward.
Okay. So there you have it, folks. We're right at the bongos. You probably want to catch Dr. Schandl tomorrow night up at the Freedom of Cancer Therapy group. There is a test, and it's really accurate. And you just might want to take that test. And pretty reasonably priced, too. I hope you've enjoyed our show today. I enjoyed doing it and bringing it to you. There'll be more on this topic. You better believe it. Until then, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney with Dr. Emil Schandl saying so long for AM Impact on Your Health.
AM Impact on Your Health is sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, MD.
Hey, I really enjoyed this show with you. I hope you didn't mind me pressing you on a couple issues, but I think I had to clear some things up. They were a little cloudy, okay? I would say that I need to know more about the company and the test. I do treat a lot of cancer patients, and I treat them in all stages of their disease. And because I use thermography, which I'm sure you know a lot about, they're so early in their detection thermographically that they would get no satisfaction by even confronting the conventional medical community. If there's a test that I could take, and this seems like to be the one, I would love to have my patients take this to confirm their cancer so we can get on with some non-toxic treatments to eradicate that cancer, if you know what I mean. And I had a feeling that you were already aware of thermography, which I think is a wonderful test that without any risk associated with it is able to, as a potential at least, to detect cancer really so early that the conventional community can't respond. They wouldn't know what to do with somebody with a thermography. But how do I, give me website information that I can check on, take a look at. I'd love to be able to talk to you. I'm going to try to get up there tomorrow night to meet you, doctor. If I can't make it, I absolutely want to bring you back on my show. I want to do future shows on this because I believe that the public is crying out for something like this. With the accuracy, which we really didn't nail down enough, but I think in a future show we can. The accuracy, I'm guessing, is the sensitivity here is so immense that it's pretty tough to think that if you had cancer, it could go undetected at all. It's pretty tough to think that. All right, so give me a website that I can take a look at. Give me phone numbers that I can call. I've got your phone number here. Hopefully we can schedule another time for you to come back to the show. But as you leave me today, I'm all excited. I want to read more. I want to find out more. Where do you suggest I go? CAProfile.net. Is it on one of these sites? Is it on one of the sites? Okay, I've downloaded that article, and I need to, as a medical doctor, I need to know more about your three kinds of assays. You quickly mentioned them. I didn't get into that too much. I didn't want our listeners to get confused by it, but I'm interested in your assay technique and how sensitive it is, and I'm sure you can validate why it is that your test is so accurate based on the assay techniques